Okay, YouTubers, this is the Angry Prepper. So, yesterday morning, I woke up to this. What was it? Now, guys, I'm only doing a video on this because initially when I saw this fog, smoke, haze, whatever the hell they're trying to call it, it was unclear what it was at the time, and it's still unclear what it is now. But initially, I said, oh man, this is a pretty interesting fog. But as soon as I got outside, it didn't feel like a fog. It didn't even smell like a fog. It had a strange odor to it. And so, as I'm standing in this haze or fog or smoke or whatever it is, I'm thinking to myself, I'm probably going to die in a couple of years because I don't know what the fuck this is. And again, whatever the odor was, it wasn't overpowering. It wasn't strong. It was just like a burnt chemical of some kind. But it was faint. But you could definitely smell the difference, especially when the wind shifted and the particles of whatever that was coming onto my balcony. It almost looked like crystals, like sparkles. Glitter, rather, sorry. So anyway, I go up to the roof, and then I get this shot. And now you can see the difference. You can see the sky above, you can see the fog, and then you can see the street below. And you can see the three different levels, if you will. I should have went to the street level and recorded it as well, but I didn't. So it just didn't make sense what I'm looking at. And the way it moved made less sense. Because if you look at this video, you can see how it's almost clear around my building. And then if you look at this video, you can see how it's following the river. And then up at this portion, it's creeping into the city from the west. Now, initially, a lot of people were saying, including my wife, she thought that it was the Canadian fires. And I thought it was too. And I'm like, that makes sense, but something doesn't feel right about this fog or smoke. There was something off about it. And it struck me as weird when I looked out of the window when I woke up that morning. And then when I went out on the terrace, it just felt weirder. And the more I started staring at it, the weirder it got. Or the weirder it felt, rather. Sorry. So then, of course, my wife tells me, oh, it's Canadian wildfire. I'm like, it's not moving like smoke. Like, at all. It's moving strange. And it's really thick. And, of course, a couple of my Canadian viewers, subscribers, are telling me on IG that it's not Canadian wildfire, that there's nothing big enough to do that. To boot, this same, whatever it was, moved its way all the way down to Florida a day or two ago. And I'm like, well, that's impossible. How the hell did they miss us and go straight to Florida, and now we're getting whatever the fuck that is? Sort of like a leapfrog, right? Whatever. But watching this fog or smoke move, guys, it was like a cloud. Because as it was moving down the river, it was moving down the river and not dissipating. And I watched it keep moving down the river almost like a snail or a slug or something. But a cloud form. And everything about that smog, about that smoke, was firing bells in my head. My conspiracy theory brain was firing off left and right. I'm looking at the smoke. I'm like, this doesn't make any sense. It's not moving like smoke. It's moving like a very thick fog. But even then, fog doesn't move the way it moved. And normally when sunlight hits the fog, it dissipates. This didn't. It just had too many eye-raising issues in the way it moved and the way it was moving and the way it did start at the top level of it, start dissipating into the air. Even at that, it was weird. So obviously I'm looking for it online and I don't see anything about it other than they're trying to blame the Canadian wildfires. But again, according to my sources, there were no Canadian wildfires and nothing big enough to have that go on. That was one. Two, nothing in the weather app about a fog coming in that morning or a fog during it was going on. When I checked the weather app, there was nothing on the weather app. Now, that's not saying much. The weather app gets a lot of shit wrong. Still, this was just an odd event. Now, some people were seemingly thinking, well, what if it was laced with something in it? Who the fuck knows? This was a very weird fog, smoke, or whatever. Now, it reminded me of that movie, that Spaniard movie. I can't remember the name, but it's this here. And in this movie, the fog was rolling in. It actually started in the ground, and it started rolling in, and people were running away from it to get away from the fog, and they had to get above it. Now, the hero in the movie got above the smoke or the fog or whatever it was, got above it, and it started creeping. It started creeping up like every day or something like that. Very good movie, by the way. But that's what it reminded me of when I got to the roof of the building and I started looking down on it. And I was like, that is fucking pretty interesting. But there's no answers. They're trying to blame the Canadian wildfire, but there's no real answers on what it is. And that's the more concerning part, because again, I've been around fog before and I've been around smoke before, and it didn't move like neither. It moved like something else. So, if anybody knows anything about this, do me a favor, please. Either reach out to me on theangryprepper@yahoo.com or leave a comment in the comment section below. I would like to know what the hell this was. Or was it just very thick, odd-moving fog? Which it could be, right? It could be Occam's razor, and it could be simply explained as just a very thick fog that had there was so much humidity in the air. It's why it kept it so low and thick and together. There is also that easier explanation. But again, that smell is why I was a little put off by it. Well, though it wasn't overpowering, it was faint. There was a definite smell there, and it had a glittery effect when it blew onto my terrace against the sun, that is. Anyway, guys, hopefully we can find some answers on this. If not, I will find out in a couple of years when my dick falls off. Anyway, guys, this is The Angry Prepper. Thank you for watching.